So, yeah, we can just have a casual talk between the two of us. I've, you know what it is? I mentioned the subject of time when you wrote last night, and that's because I'm having this experience over and over again, and when things happen with me in clusters or patterns, it generally means something. And I had an OBE 2 days ago, and in this OBE, I'm taken back in time to my 15-year-old self, and that happened just recently, just a few weeks ago, in an experience. My 63-year-old self came here to my 54-year-old self right here in this house, in this bedroom. And yeah, I was point consciousness standing at the door, looking in the door, and my 63-year-old self, was standing in the room facing the bed, holding a book. And I had on black pants and a white top. This is my standard yoga teaching uniform. When I teach yoga, this is what I wear. And so that's sort of what that information was feeding me. And yeah, I had short gray hair. And that reminded me of the very first time I was ever aware of it happening, which is when I was 7 years old. So a much older version of me came. And, often when I do this, I'm standing outside the window, looking in the window. And this is one of those. So at 7 years old, I had projected outside the window, and my much older self is behind me. And she puts her hand on my left shoulder, and I turn to look at the hand, and the hand is so old. I mean, so old it scared me. As a 7-year-old, I didn't even know what that was. That was age, and I knew it was me, and the fact that that was me and how old it was, it scared me. It popped me sort of out of the experience at that point. But yeah, so like I'm time traveling.
You're not the first person who's given me a similar type story too. People met by their older version, or I've heard that story several times. I don't know that I've really experienced it myself, but
Yeah.
it's something I've definitely heard of. So
Yeah, this means something. I'm not getting the full gist of what it means yet, but it's starting to happen more and more in larger clusters. So anyway, I just thought I would give a little attention to it. Just talk about time.
my friend, who I talk about quite a bit, who was really good at he'd get out of the body, and he could. A guy did color sending with once, and he was like picking up all the colors immediately. Like even when I was kind of deciding what color, he was like, he was. I was trying to decide pink or purple, and he said pink, purple. I was like, I hadn't even made my mind up yet, and he was already picking it up. But he used to do time travel. He used to like to just go out to the country and like in the 1900s or whatever, and just see how things were back in the old times, just for how calm it was, and
Mm-hmm.
deep rural areas.
Specifically, I'm traveling to myself in time. Like in my OBEs, I'm, sure, in different time frames and different timelines. But I mean, this timeline, the one in which Casey is living her life, from within that timeline, I'm traveling around to different points in time to myself at different ages. This is fascinating. I'm
Uh,
I'm helping myself somehow do something, and I don't, or cognize something, or complete with something. And I can get the gist of what this is, but I'm not cognizing it yet in full. And so, yes, I am calling for this to happen more in my full conscious awareness so that I get the better gist. We're time traveling all the time. I'm going to give an example to you because you do the videos too. So I will be, when this generally happens a lot, is when uh, someone's asking me a question on one of the old videos, and I have to go back and listen to the old video to see what it is I said. And it's such a surreal experience because it's me then talking to me now as I'm listening. And when you really get into that experience, when you really open yourself up and let yourself realize that that's a past version of me talking to the present version of me, this is a form of time travel experience also. And because you make the videos, I'm sure you could have the experience also because your videos go quite far back as well. Like sit down with one of those first videos that you make and look at yourself in the eyes and really let yourself viscerally experience yourself talking to and listening to yourself from 2 points in time. It's a phenomenal
And sort
experience.
I'm sort of, pulling some of my old hill or stream videos into my hidden observer and reprocessing them. So I've been kind of looking at a lot of that old stuff, and it is
Uh-huh.
interesting.
Have you ever really let yourself get into the experience of speaking
Right. Well,
to and listening to yourself, specifically with the awareness that this is from 2 points in time?
yeah, but it's different than traveling there. Normally, I'm pretty. There's not a whole lot of them that I really have to remake. It's like most of them are still there in my
Right.
head.
But
I'm still.
see if you can do this. Like, the reason it's time travel for me is because as I'm listening, as I'm watching myself, I'm in another room, I'm in another location, and I'm there. As me, I'm there also. As my 54-year-old self, I'm there as my 44-year, I'm there in the room that my 44-year-old self was in. Like I go there, I can just be there. Like right now, as I'm looking at you, this is something that happened for me about 12 years ago. I noticed that when I was speaking with people from different locations, for instance, the way that we are here now, I could, I'm in your space. I can walk around your room. I can get the sensation. I can get the feeling. I've never attempted to shift fully in because I, don't know if I have permission. But it can be like I'm just there. But when it's myself, I have my own permission. I'm there. You know, as real as I'm sitting here, I'm there. And as my current self, as well as my 44-year-old self who's sitting there making the video. They're like portals. The videos, the open screen, the visual screen is like a portal. And I can just shift right through and into another space. In that fashion, portals is another fascinating discussion that also, has a lot to do with time. Have you ever experienced portals?
Well, that same friend of mine was convinced he had a portal to the astral in his house, because he was getting all kinds of hauntings going on in his house. But he was kind of a trip. He was very but he was a little unstable too, and unfortunately, he's no
You
longer with us. But
you have portals in your house, and everybody does. The clock is a portal. That's a very common portal. Every doorway from the inside to the outside is a portal. Every window from the inside to the outside is a portal. Every mirror in your house, because there's you on the outside of the mirror and then the you on the inside of the mirror, is a portal. So these are very common portals that exist in all of our spaces. We just don't realize they're portals. It's funny because we will think of the inside of our house and the outside of our house as the same general location, but it's not. Linear time and linear space does not exist. Inside your house and outside your house are two distinct locations, separate.
hmm, trying to,
And every time you cross the threshold from the inside to the outside, you're literally shifting. You're just doing it sort of in a linear fashion in slow motion. But if you let I'm sorry, I'm having an unstable internet connection. It's probably because of all the rain.
I was wondering if it was you or me, because sitting down in the background here.
Yeah, well, it may be both of us. Who knows? But I experience non-physical portals in my space too. I have for some time, since way before I even consciously started going out of body. I could detect the portals in my space. So I would just, usually it would be at nighttime, just, I would be getting ready to call it a day, and I'd just be kicking back, maybe listening to some audio recording on something consciousness related usually. And just sort of just looking out into the space. And I would notice that there were areas in the space that were defined, like a circular or oval shaped space that was defined. And then when I would look into it, I would see that the space there was moving, like a heat signature. I call it the warbly space, just because this is what it looks like. It just looks like the space is warbling. And I could clearly see it as distinct from, the space around it. So I could see the outline of what the portal looked like, whether it was circular or oval or whatnot. Yeah, so I've been experiencing that for some time, and that I fully feel is beings in my space. Yeah, like directly in my space, not fully visible to me yet, but their energy signature somehow visible to me. I still I still haven't had the experience of the heat signature actually patterning out into a full visual representation of who that is, but I'm looking forward to when that does happen.
I've been wondering about my daydream type experiences, and they come in clusters too. I had one fairly recently, but a few months ago I was having a cluster of them. But
Hmm.
it's like you're in a whole different head for a second, and you understand everything that's going on. I don't know if it's another self of, or if I'm tuning into somebody who's just got the same kind of vibe as I am. Uh, somebody else? Is it just fantasy? Is it? It's like, what is this? Because I'm there, I know all the details. I'm in that world, and then I'm out of it. It's like a whole different. There's other people there too. Other people are talking to other people, and
Yeah, tell me about one of your more recent daydream experiences, or a cluster of them if they have something in common.
well, they're all pretty similar. Where Um, Usually I'm doing something in the real world, that's fairly monotonous. My mind is wandering,
Mm.
and I'll just kind of wander into a scene, and I'll be with. Sometimes I'm with someone else. Sometimes I can be having a conversation, with that person, and that's just a normal situation. I'm just like doing something menial there too,
Mm.
like nothing great's going on, but I might be talking to someone else. There might be someone else in the room. It's not too different from my dream world, really, and then all of a sudden, pop, you know. Oh.
Do you ever get more details than just the fact that you're communicating with someone?
It's yeah, well, like when I'm there, it's all detailed, but when it's when I pull back, that's the just like dreams, it's what you pull back is the tough part. Uh,
But that's what I mean. Do you bring back with you any more details than the fact that you were just speaking with someone?
Speak with someone in the general scene, whether it's at a table or something with a person, kind of what we were working on together or something, or some other situation.
Yeah, give
Yeah,
me the
just
details. Give me the details of the last one you had. Were you speaking with a woman or a man? Was this a guide or was this just somebody on the scene? Tell me what happened.
I was speaking with a woman about my age, although I don't know what age I was. But relatively. I don't know. It seems like in all my dreams and even daydreams, I'm like in my 30s and not really in my 60s. I'm going to be 61 soon. Uh, but yeah, it's just casual situation. It's not anything really intense. Might be working on something together, or she might be doing something on her own, or it's not always the same person, of course, either.
Well,
Or there might not even be.
there must be something that you're getting out of them because you're not letting them go. You're letting this be a steady, regular part of your awareness in the living of your life. So it must mean something to you. It must be meaningful to you.
Yeah, other than just the shock of the difference, and it's like a form of soul travel, or I was talking about how everything is clear, but when you're in that clear world, there's detail, and it's not, it's like a regular world when you're in it. But then from this perspective, it's like a clear nothing off in the distance,
Mm-hmm.
But that would be that's kind of like a fully conscious OBE without even going to putting your body to sleep. Your body is just in a steady state, and you're having an OBE elsewhere without necessarily putting your body to sleep. It's like body awake and mind
Now,
somewhere else.
let's discuss the unique characteristics of what you're experiencing and the conscious OBE. So, in essence, my microphone's doing something
what's
weird. Um,
what's gripping about it's so immersive. It's like
Fundamentally, a shift is a shift. Okay, but a conscious shift would be you taking your conscious mind from right there where you are to another location, staying fully conscious through that shift, making observation through that shift, picking up the details, and then
see,
landing in the new place and collecting data, details of what's going on there, and then in full conscious awareness, shifting back to this location with all of that intact. So that would be a conscious OBE. But you're going out and you're retaining only a mild amount of awareness that you're doing it. Oh, I was just somewhere else a minute ago. talking with somebody. Um, but if you were to stay conscious through the shift from here to there, collect your data and make it back with that data, that would be a conscious OB.
Yeah, it's like I'm just doing something menial and my mind is wandering, but eventually
You're
it
traveling.
wanders to
Yeah.
someplace where it stays, where I'm in a spot for a while and I'm starting to collect data, like you're saying. I got to, I don't know, maybe I need to work with dream signs or something. That seems it never worked with me, but I've never been disciplined enough, I guess, to really do the full thing like some people do with dream signs. All day long they're doing reality checks all day long. Just so they do it when they're sleeping too. Because it's like I don't even realize it's nothing out of the normal, but then all of a sudden something in the real world snaps me out of it.
Yes.
Sound or even just me noticing.
Hmm. So the way to make the shift consciously from here to somewhere else is to begin practicing, as you know, bringing the data back. So, this is why we're trying to put some time and attention and awareness into dream recall and working those muscles. Once they're lazy, and you have to re strengthen them again. And you only re strengthen them by every day, every day, every day, spending a certain amount of time on data recovery. And then journaling, documenting, logging everything that just happened. That's how you're going to rebuild the muscle. So, say you put 15 minutes into data recovery every morning, or let's just say this morning, and nothing came to you. What are you going to write down?
Basically that.
Yes.
One or two vacancies.
The date, the time, the amount of time you spent on data recovery, and anything that you can think of. I was laying on my back. um, eyes closed, nothing, no swirls of color. You can mention the things that are more typically there, when you begin to have some recovery. Um, you can say if you notice any temperatures, like I was particularly cold, or I remember I was just uncomfortable. You write down the things, you write down everything and anything that you can, because that's going to help you on the next night and next morning when you attempt to do the same. Okay, the more effort you put into it, the more effort you actually put into it, and the more effort you put into it, the more reward. Period. So when
It's like
when you work that muscle, then you can start working the muscle from the other end, and from this location, consciously shift to a new location. But we generally get it going by
it's like
bringing the dream fields forward and working that muscle until we're pulling something forward, somewhat effortlessly on most days, and now we're ready for the conscious OBE.
well, two things usually happen. One of two things usually, and I've got to pee badly, or it's the cat who woke me up and he's nagging at me.
So what do you
So one
do?
of those two things gets me away from bed, for a moment.
Okay, peeing
Um,
takes what, 30 seconds? So this isn't something that has to get in the way. You get up, you go pee, you lay back down, and you do your recovery. That's not something that is an excuse. Okay.
that rarely works, though. It's like,
No, Okay, so then we have to overwrite that. It rarely works because you rarely spend time doing data recovery, not because you just got up to go to the bathroom. But when you work the data recovery every day for a period of time and start strengthening those muscles, then you will see that it doesn't make much of a difference. And also, you will begin to time your getting up to go pee before you're going to do your data recovery, meaning you'll time it for 4 a.m. if you have to get up at 6. You'll start making everything suit what it is you're trying to do. But yeah, so get up, go to the bathroom, get back, lay back down. Okay, no big deal. And keep your eyes closed as you walk to the bathroom. See if you can, keep going in. Keep giving yourself the positive reinforcement also. Keep asking yourself the question, what was I just dreaming? What was I just dreaming? And you just
I
open
do.
yourself up to the possibility of knowing. And on the I was in a full-on OBE 2 mornings ago and got up to go to the bath. I just carry it with me, but that's because I've worked the muscle and I can do that. So I just the full OBE was still in effect as I got up and walked to the bathroom. I was in the OBE and in my room in the bathroom and walked back, laid back down, didn't stop, and then fully, physically shifted back in. Just okay. So these things are possible and absolutely likely if you put in the time.
Well, it's a matter of getting back into that same vibration, lack of a better word,
You have
that
to
I
just
was in the
practice it. I'm going to say it over and over again
and,
because there are no
and
buts. There are no buts. You just have to
explain what
practice.
happened.
The reason it's not happening is because it's not getting practiced. Not because you have to get up and go to the bathroom, not because the lawnmower is going now outside, not because of any of that, but because you're not practicing regularly. If you're practicing the data recovery regularly every morning, then again, this muscle gets worked, this muscle gets strong, and nothing stops you. Not getting up to go to the bathroom, not the leaf blowers blowing outside your bedroom window, nothing. You learn to use everything to help you get deeper into what you are doing, rather than use them as an excuse that gets in your way.
I seem to go through phases where I can do that quite well for a while, and you know, for a
Mhm.
year or so, and then go into phases where I can't really recover anything. And a lot of times I'll wake up in the morning and I'll try not to move or stir too much at all, and I'll try to recover my dream. And it's like when I'm first waking up, I still have that dream in my head, and I just feel it going. It's just like being pulled out of my head as I try to recover it.
Before
It's like
before
I'm
that
grabbing at things and
happens,
they're like being used out as I'm grabbing them.
I know what you mean. Before that happens, and you just expressed that you're aware of it just before it happens, ground a concept. Like condense the whole thing down into a single concept really fast before it goes, and then say that word to yourself over and over and over and over again.
And sometimes I try that, and a lot of times I have these 1 or 2 word recalls because
I'm saying do it every day, every day, every day. The more you do it, the more it will always work, or most always work. 340 days of the year, it's going to work, as opposed to the 20 sub on where it doesn't, okay, which is just insignificant. So do that, get in the habit of doing that, and you'll at least have that. And that is what you will use to rework the muscle. There was a black dog. I was with a black dog. What was I doing with the black dog? And you just keep working it, you know, and it will come. It will come. You know, I don't spend 15 minutes on data recovery, I spend hours. So I recover a lot because I spend a lot of time recovering the data. So it's all a matter of how important it is to you, you know. Uh, this is a major part of my life and what I'm doing with my life and what I want to do with my life. And so it's pertinent for me. It's critical for me. Uh, it would be like, you know, anybody who's doing anything for a living spending time on that, you know, on developing their skill at it.
There's a little bit of a frustration factor too, which doesn't help.
No, it doesn't. And I know I'm familiar with that altogether. You know, gone to with the channeling stuff and the reporting from the out, I see my frustration with it. I can't even keep practice partners because my frustration level gets too high. Um, so yeah, that's something that you just have to work with, and you have to keep going none the same. You have to keep figuring out a way to keep doing it if it's important to you. Yeah. And it is important to this life in particular for us all. Mm. It's starting to come down again.
It's really gray out here. It's been gray all day. We're gray all week. Last week, ugh, kind of monotonous weather. But I was been up north last few days and just didn't get much done. The last day I got a bunch done because I had to. But the other days it's just kind of this misty, crummy, old, misty, sleety.
Uh-huh.
Even the cat didn't want to go outside, and that's unusual for him.
So is there anything that you want help on?
I just got to keep working with the usual. I just got to, like you saying, I got to make time. I think I got to get back into writing more too.
The writing is big.
I use Grammarly. And they tell me I write more than 97% of most people write. So I do write a lot, but it's mostly just stuff off the internet, you know, and my videos and all that. I need to do some creative writing again. I used to write short stories or something just for myself or anything, you know. Just have to make time for that. That might actually help my recall in a strange way, I think.
It absolutely will help your recall,
Just,
and it will
just
help you. It
more.
will help you bring forward more than you are. It will help you bring forward your own thoughts on this, your own feelings on this, what this actually means to you, what more uh, is in there really that you haven't been seeing. Yeah, and it helps you just formulate things.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It probably helps just get in the habit of translating thoughts into words, you know.
The formulation, and what I mean by that is
Is
it
into,
makes it less vague. You,
yeah.
you have to bring more detail in to write. You know, it can't just be wispy whatnots of I don't knows
Yeah, it's a different.
or could be this. You know, you actually have to say, you know, this is what I'm thinking right now, you know, and that takes some bravery. Yeah, when I first started realizing it was the ETs that were behind the majority of my experiences, you know, I had to figure out how I was going to conceptualize this and live with it. You know, what is this? What does this mean? What can be done with this? What good does this do? You know, all of that. then comes into play. And when you start playing with it, yes, more experiences are given to you. What is it you want to experience? Like if you were to have an out of body, a conscious OBE, what for?
I'd just like to explore, you know, even the physical realm, but the astral, you know, the temples and stuff like that. I think it'll get back to those places, the schools and temples, and
Do you know
I
what
just
the
like to
astral?
learn how to carry.
I'm sorry, there's a delay. Do you know what the astral is?
What's it's the next realm up, basically. It's the
What is the
emotional
next
realm.
realm out from planetary life? When you're on your planet and you can't get off of your own planet, you're just experiencing your own planet. What's the next realm out?
Are you talking next realm out physically?
Yes,
Because I mean, space, I guess. I'm
galactic
not sure where
space, not planetary space, galactic space. The astral is galactic space. That's all life on every other planet in our galaxy, galactic space.
well, of course, the astral is everywhere. I mean, it's here too. It's right here,
The
right
astral
now.
is, yeah, it's galactic space.
The physical is totally within the astral. You know,
The
or the
planet,
little diagram, circle, you know,
this
the
planet,
physical is a circle, astral circle, just inside the mental circle.
this planet is within our galaxy. Yes. The astral is galactic space. Again, this is where every other life form from every other planet in our galaxy is. Most people are in belief system territories. They're in the personal private sector. They're not in consensus space. They're not in galactic space yet. They're still in their own personal private reality bubble. They're still in their personal private reality bubble here in this experience, planetary experience too, and not realizing it. But the
I'm just
astral,
curious,
the real astral is galactic space.
but it's also physical space. I mean, the astral's everywhere. That the physical is.
The astral is physical, yes. Galactic space is physical, not 3D physical, but physical, yes. You can touch it, smell it, taste it, hear it, see it, and more. Yes, more of the non-physical senses are online. By the time you're experiencing in galactic space, your clair senses have turned on. So there's telepathy and wow, the rain is really coming down. Can you hear that?
There's some kind of rushing noise.
That's actually so loud I can hardly hear myself. Woohoo! We like rain here in California.
Yeah.
Um,
We get sick of it here in Michigan.
yeah, and then the next realm out, you know what? When you go from that spectrum, physical, astral, and then you go out to the mental plane, that's the mental plane. That next plane out is universal space, and that's all the galaxies in our entire universe, and every life form in all of those galaxies in the whole universe. Yeah, it's huge. But I mean, that's what you're experiencing when you go into, I'm going to say a lifetime. So here in the lifetime of Anton and Casey, we're in the 3D physical, locked on the planet and trying to, you know, get unlocked, you know, and what that, when everything unlocks for you, when everything unlocked for me, I'm no longer in planetary space. I'm in galactic space. I can make conscious shifts into galactic space, you know, into the presence of various forms of extraterrestrial consciousness, extraterrestrial crafts, and even other extraterrestrial worlds. I'm not saying it's a highly like I experience it in my OBEs, but my OBEs happen, my conscious ones happen right now. They're happening about once a week. Yeah, at the onset of my activation to awaken, they were happening twice a week, and then I kicked that up when I did the consciousness experiment, and I was going out like 5 times a week. But yeah, I mean that's what that is. The astral is galactic space when it's consensus, not when it's the personal. There is a personal private sector, and the idea is to grow out beyond that personal private sector. And when we do, we begin to see other life forms other than Earth human looking ones. My central nervous system is still working on it. I still, have I struggle with the filtering, and being able to see them fully as they are. Mm, I'll get there, right? So time travel.
Ask you.
You time travel in your daydreams to the you in your 30s. That's somewhere. See, you're a different age, so you are time traveling.
Well, seems like it. I don't feel my age as it is, so who knows?
Okay, what else? What do you want to talk about?
I guess if no one's going to join us, I could get to my lunch.
Okay.
I brought home a lunch from the Thai place and sitting on the counter.
Wow, you are
In the
disciplined.
kitchen, but I recall struggling. Not diving into it. You haven't eaten today.
Yeah, most men would just dive into that. Wow. Well, thank you for coming and chatting with me for a bit. Yeah, maybe some more people will come next week. I'm working on some things that will help more people be aware of what we're doing. And so maybe some will want to come out onto the camera and join the Zooms. We'll see.
Maybe we'll have to do topics or something. It's hard to get a riveting topic though. And
what I would really like to do is draw in some people who are going out of body. And so we can start talking about people's experiences and how they're processing them. We don't do that because you and James and Ioana aren't going out of body. So we're just discussing concepts within the theme. But it would be nice.
Yeah, I think one time with maybe just the usual characters on board, maybe do a guided meditation with us. Where you talk us through a lift out, basically. Get us into a go real slow, real gentle, get into a real relaxed state. Talk us into a real.
Well, I do that
spend time getting into.
I do that in person. But the way I guide you is by speaking with you. After I lay you down and tell you to put your attention here and pay attention to the fact that you're breathing, you're pretty much on your own, except for adjustments that I will physically give your body to help you be more comfortable. Sometimes I play a bowl, but I usually don't do verbal. guided ones because I don't want you to go where I'm telling you to go. I want you to go where your consciousness is wanting to go.